Hey yo, if you heard the podcast this week, you might have heard me say there would not be a quick play stream this week because the quick play stream itself dropped packets during the first like 10 minutes, or dropped frames during the first like 10 minutes of the stream, and it kind of ruined a good chunk of the video. Not all of it, like the last 20 minutes are fine, but And then also I tried to re-record this, and then my computer froze while I was trying to re-record it. So this is the quick play stream that's not meant to happen. Third time's the charm. Mario Kart Super Circuit. Mario Kart Super Circuit is an interesting entry in the series. I would say it's probably one of the least loved of the games. It came at an interesting time in the series because not only you had Super Mario Kart that came out on the Super Nintendo, and then you had Mario Kart 64, and I think this came out before Double Dash on GameCube. So the only precedent set was the Super Nintendo one and the 64 one. And I actually originally saw this game in a Nintendo Power issue where they were showing off like a pre-release build of the game. And I was actually very impressed by the character sprites at the time. And these character sprites, I mean, obviously they're kind of pixely, but if you look at the original Nintendo 64 ones, these are actually pretty close to how they looked for the most part. Maybe more limited colors. We'll pick Mario. I've been picking Peach the times I've been trying to do this, maybe Mario's good luck. So the character sprites look pretty similar to the Nintendo 64 ones, but as you can see, it's actually like visually a lot closer to the Super Nintendo game. It has that like faux Mode 7 look, where basically the bottom of the track is like laid out in front of you, even though it's like a 2D sprite almost. Whether or not that's actually how this technology works here on the Game Boy Advance, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they ended up emulating that kind of stuff, because obviously Super Nintendo had its own special Mode 7 for that, that was kind of a feature of the hardware, I guess. But in the case of the Game Boy Advance, I'm not really sure if it had something special about it that helped it do this, or if it was just like, hey, this hardware is powerful enough that we're able to emulate it. So it's similar to the Super Nintendo game with there's coins that you can pick up to not only gain speed, but also use to kind of defend yourself from opponents. I mean, maybe defend yourself isn't the right word, but basically like every time an opponent hits you, you lose coins. Or oh geez, I didn't see that shell. Mario is red, as the shell was. So like if you get hit, you lose coins, and then also if people bump, you lose coins, and then if you have no coins at all, when you get bumped, you'll just spin out, even though you're just getting tapped by somebody essentially. Excuse me. Here we go. So what's also kind of unique about this game is it actually has a lot of courses in it for the Mario Kart of its time. Like I think typically Mario Kart games had like 4 to 5 cups in them. I can't remember the exact number, but this game has its typical like 4 to 5 cups. We'll look at it in the menu, but it also like, and this is like another like a third purpose for those coins. Basically, oh jeez, hey Luigi. Basically, if you get enough coins during a Grand Prix, you unlock bonus tracks, and those bonus tracks are the Super Nintendo courses. Considering that visually, they fit the design of this game course-wise. It's pretty easy to just throw it in there. Honestly, most of the time you can kind of hardly tell the difference between these courses and the other ones. One interesting thing about the red shells in this game, and it's probably one of the reasons why the red shell is so prominent in first place, is that not only does it have an offensive option, so typically a red shell in Mario Kart games will heat seek out the person in front of you, and it's a pretty valuable item to have. But it's kind of like the first level of oh, you're behind in the pack, therefore we'll give you this, so you can have an advantage and catch up. And this one, I think it's a bit more generous because it also has like a defensive option. Oh dang! Typically, when you shoot a red shell backwards in Mario Kart games, it will just have a straight line that it does. So it'll shoot behind you just like a green shell for the most part. The exception being that no, he got past the finish line. The exception being that when it hits the wall, it'll just immediately like explode or die, essentially, where a green shell usually bounce. I also think they're typically slower than like a green shell would be. In this game, it's different where when you shoot the red shell behind you, it sticks to the ground like a banana peel. But that's not all. It's not just a stationary. Oh no, I spun out. It's not just like a stationary. And see, here's me. I have no coin, so if anyone bumps me right now, I get spun out. It's basically like a heat-seeking mine. So it will sit in the track, and then if anyone drives by it, it will seek after them and hit them. And like, these tracks are not particularly wide. It's very difficult to dodge them. It's very overpowered, I would say, but it's probably one of the most fascinating like design changes to the red shell that has ever happened. But it never was followed up because it's not it's kind of an overpowered tool for first place, because it's just really hard to dodge them, because you can just like drop one in the center of the track and they're gonna have a very hard time getting past that shell. Let me see, there's someone in front of me. Let's see if that red shell will hit them. So I'll go ahead and drop. Oh no, I have 3 net shells. Never mind. Let's see if I can. Oh wow, that guy is way ahead. Jeez. Okay, Bowser. So it's just a very overpowered shell, but it's also the most unique red shell of the series. I'm actually not sure who developed this, if it was the standard Mario Kart team or if it was another team that took over for it. Sometimes, maybe not so much with Game Boy Advance era stuff, but during the Game Boy era, sometimes the non-core developers of a franchise would take over the portable ones, like R&D 1 taking care of, I think it was Super Mario Brothers on the Game Boy, rather than I forget whose team it was. I did not prepare any information to talk about this, so I probably shouldn't. But yeah, so it's just a neat game, and because it is based off the Super Nintendo game. There's that was weird. Because it's based off the Super Nintendo game, there's not really a drifting mechanic. I noticed, and I never noticed this as a kid, but when I was trying to stream this earlier, I had noticed that there was like a boost thing that was happening when I was playing as Peach, and I think it might have been that I was like coming around corners and not going off the side of the tracks, but not hitting the wall or not going off the side of the tracks in this game. It's pretty tough. There's a little boost there. It's pretty tough, and I would say the speed boost looks kind of minimal, and it's just not particularly easy to do on most turns in this game. So I would just say it's not as big of a mechanic, but maybe like some high tier Super Circuit players would tell me differently. They're like, no, boost is what this game's all about. I'm sure it definitely helps the boost. It's just a matter of actually coming around these corners and not hitting the wall. And this like the Super Nintendo and this Mario Kart is pretty difficult. Admittedly, I'm not great at these games either, so I'm not gonna sit here and claim that you wouldn't be able to do it. But it's just kind of the controls are just kind of loose, and you kind of the controls are a little squirrely. Maybe I don't know if that'd be the right word. But it's interesting. I actually like that. Each Mario Kart game for a good long while kind of had its own unique feel to the steering. I feel like Super Mario Kart, Mario Kart 64, Mario Kart 64 has like more traditional drifting, what you would expect. Super Circuit and then Double Dash has like I would say it's kind of a slower paced game, but also maybe more strategic in how you take turns. I did it. I got rank E. I think the ranking is based on the number of coins you get. You need a lot of coins. It gets like 150 to unlock the course. So so I'll go ahead and show off some of those Super Nintendo tracks. But yeah, and I feel like after Mario Kart, we the handling. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. The handling kind of got set in place, and I was never a big fan of how Mario Kart Wii handled, but that seems to be like kind of the standard. Admittedly, I have not spent a lot of time with stuff like I'd rather have something with acceleration because I'm bad at this game. I'll play as Peach, and hopefully my computer doesn't freeze again because of Peach. Actually, I want to back out of this because I don't think I have any 150cc Super Nintendo tracks unlocked. So we just press R, and so we get another 5 tracks, and these are all just the Super Nintendo tracks you would expect and you love. So Mario Kart Circuit, or Mario Circuit 2 is probably one of my favorite tracks in the Super Nintendo game. So, for probably a really dumb reason, there's a big jump at the end. That's pretty much it. So I'd say maybe it's not great anymore, more just nostalgic for it. I'm gonna squirrel out, yay! Okay. For me, it's just I loved like trying to we'll carry this mushroom with me if I can get back on the track, dear Jesus, and you can kind of like slide to the dang. You can kind of do this and jump ahead, and I was like, oh, that's kind of like a neat shortcut, and you go like really high on the jump, and that was something I always loved doing. But yeah, it's I would say, I mean, as much as I said the levels of Super Circuit are very similar, god dang it, the levels of Super Circuit are very similar to the Super Nintendo games. I would say the Super Nintendo's tracks are a little more barren. They didn't do anything to like polish them up in this game for the most part. Unlike later Mario Karts, where when they remake levels, sometimes they're more faithful, sometimes they completely overhaul them. So in this game, it's pretty much just a straight conversion as far as I can tell. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right. I think all the Super Nintendo tracks are 5 laps, which I think is accurate to the original game. So I'm ready. All right. But yeah, I kind of Yoshi. Just gonna keep this mushroom. I want to do my boost. Ah, well, third is okay. As long as we get to the next track, that's all that matters. But yeah, I kind of fell the Mario Kart series after Wii. I didn't buy Mario Kart on 3DS, and I got Mario Kart 8 on Wii U, and that was kind of, I played it a little bit and then just kind of stopped. But this one's kind of a little, I don't know if I'd say special to me, but I think it's a unique game in the series because it takes it back to what Mario Kart was, and I'm not a big Super Mario Kart fan. I think Super Mario Kart is an alright game, but it replicates that style, and then it brings it to the portable format and just gives you a ton of tracks, which nowadays Mario Kart does have a ton of tracks in every release. And DLC tracks and all that stuff. I think Mario Kart 8's DLC support is fantastic. Yeah, this one just had a lot of content in it, and you could play it on the go. You could do link cables. It was actually a single pack game. So I think you all played Yoshi's, and I don't remember if you could have access to all the tracks, but you had access to some tracks at least. And I definitely did a little bit of that with some friends at the time. I don't think anyone else had the game, so I think we always played the limited mode. I think it's up to 4 players in that case, but portable multiplayer, everyone needs their own system and all that stuff, so it's not exactly challenging, or not challenging, but it is challenging to get a game together and those kind of things. So, oh geez, I made a mistake and looked at my recording time and just drove right off the track. Since we're on 100cc, I'm kind of winning, I think. I think it was 150cc, that would not be the case. Okay, I'm tied. Game Boy Advance had a lot of racers available though. I would say this is probably a pretty good one. I say that, but honestly, I haven't spent a lot of time with. I played F-Zero Maximum Velocity, but I haven't spent any time with like that. That's a lie. I rented the Konami Crazy Racers on Game Boy Advance. At the time, I liked it, but I was also a child, so Jesus, Mario, get off me. Some of these shortcuts that use the feather in the original Super Nintendo game are kind of a mystery to me how to get over it. I think you just boost and then jump, but yeah. But you know, there's a lot of F-Zero games on Game Boy Advance, and you had, you know, Konami Crazy Racers, and you had this game, and I'm not sure what else is out there. But you know, as a Mario Kart game, you know, I think it's pretty safe to go with this game, and it's generally pretty solid. You know, you just have to, if you hate the Super Nintendo game, maybe don't get this one. But I do think it's a good-looking game on the Game Boy Advance. It is interesting. You can look at a lot of Game Boy Advance games that tried like 3D modeling and stuff towards the end of the system's life, and it'd be curious to see if that would have worked with a game like this. But I think just the you know, you need the speed. Dang it, you need the speed, and that's something that a lot of those early 3D games on Game Boy Advance didn't have. If you look at stuff, I think it's like Spider-Man 2 on Game Boy Advance, I think, and then I think there might be a driver game on Game Boy Advance, Medal of Honor games, things like that. They're all very, very sluggish, and you know, you want smooth gameplay with a game like this, so they're sticking conservatively, especially since this was a fairly early title, I think, in the system's life. I mean, at the very least, they were showing it off very early in the system's life, and you know, it's probably the smartest move to go with this kind of presentation. You know, if you want a more hardcore racer, I would say Maximum Velocity is definitely, you know, the smarter choice, F-Zero Maximum Velocity. And I think there are 2 other F-Zero games on the Game Boy Advance, so there's plenty of room there if you want to try that. And then I'm guessing there's probably a ton of Game Boy Advance racing games that are more in the style of like, what is that series called? Like the top-down isometric racer kind of thing. But you know, that comes with its own limitations. My brain is saying Micro Machines. I know there's a Micro Machine games in that style, but that's not what I'm talking about. So, or rather, that's not Mario. Oh, dang! I thought that was the last lap. I was about to die. Okay, let's see if we can get up. Oh boy! Oh boy! Sometimes taking it slow is better. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Oh, I do feel like the item, you know, the item. Oh Jesus! No! 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 Okay, we're all right. I do feel like the item, you know, dealing out like based off what place you're in is much more generous in this game, and possibly that's true with Mario Kart 64. It's been a long time since I've played that game. I don't know if like in first place you're getting red shells. I mean, and I feel like in Mario Kart 8 nowadays you get coins, bananas, or the fake item boxes, and that's about it if you're in first place. But yeah, I think we'll finish up this Grand Prix, and then ooh, oh jeez. We'll finish up this Grand Prix. I can't. So there's a shortcut in this game I really like, and I may have talked about this already. But between all the many times I've tried to record this quick play stream and it's gone terribly, I think I haven't showed off the shortcut yet in this game, or in this stream. So if I do it twice, my apologies. There's a level in here called like Ribbon Way or something like that, and there's a shortcut that is surprisingly ooh, that was a nice turn. Is surprisingly like effective, and it seems like, I don't know if it's intentional. It seems so easy to get to. It seems like it has to have been like seen at some point, but nobody either nobody cared or someone was like, oh yeah, I did that on purpose. But it's a huge shortcut that the AI never takes, and so the player just gets like such a big advantage on that track, because you can literally go from like 8th to 2nd just taking the shortcut once, and you can do it like every lap. It's really easy to hit. It's worth slowing down to hit it if you need to hit it, or if you didn't hit it, and it's just like you just plow through that track. And you know, I remember getting some pretty good times on that level, which, hey, maybe we'll try some time trial stuff. Maybe I'll say I remember getting pretty good times, and then my ghost is like pure trash from when I was a kid. One of my favorite things about Mario Kart games is that, you know, it saves that ghost for the time trials, and so like I can go back to like my Mario Kart 64 save data, and you know, I have ghost recordings from when I was like 8 playing the game, and I race myself, and then I just like never beat my times because I'm like, hey, like that's like a little me there racing. That's really fun to revisit once in a while and see how bad I play. So I think in 64 you had to have like a memory pack for it, but in this case, I think it's just built into the pack. Well, it's Game Boy Advance, so it's not like you have a memory card. We did it! Yay! So let's go ahead and go to the ribbon road. I'll go 150cc. We'll take Luigi. I've noticed Luigi's weirdly bumping this game. I don't know why. I don't know. He seems like he vibrates more than the other characters, but maybe I'm just crazy. So basically, like, there's this turn here, and there's like this boost, and you want to... I missed it. Again, like I said, it's worth slowing down for it, but we don't need to hit it unless we're like trying to set a new record. So we're even though we're in 5th, we're still safe. But basically, it cuts you over to this part of the track, and like it doesn't seem that long, but it's like a good maybe third of the track, I feel like. You know, this is kind of the second half of the track, and it's not that long. It's a little windy, but for the most part, it's... Oh, dang, he's a star. He's a little windy, and one mistake I'm making is switching between a ton of different characters, because it's not like I've played this game enough recently. Okay, here we go. Oh, we messed up. Did we get in? Oh, I guess that is the one danger. I had forgotten about that. If you don't get in, you get put way out over there. So we'll try again. On the last lap, let's see if we can make it up. But yeah, I remember just like blowing through this track as a kid. So, but again, we'll see if my memory has been fooling me. It's not the first time my memory has deceived me. No. All right. It's probably not worth going this far out of your way, but we're gonna do it. And I screwed it up completely. I would have been in 2nd though. I mean, that would have been pretty crazy if I had made it. But you can see just like how valuable that would have been. But you know, the fact that I messed up and got thrown out, you know, everyone's kind of moving in a group, so okay. Yeah, just throw it. We're not gonna make it. So I'm gonna hit Wario with that. Okay, we'll do some time trial real quick. Oops. Let's not retry. Beep, beep, bing. I actually like the menus in this game quite a bit. Oh, backed out again. That title screen is originally like a blue color, but I think after you get a certain point in the game, it changes. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do trial. We'll try Wario. Again, like I said, terrible idea. So yeah, you can see I have some ghost data here, it looks like. Let's see what would be a good one to do. Have I did Mario Circuit already? I feel like I might have. Let's do Shy Guy Beach and race against Luigi, me as a kid. That's a little Shy Guy shit back there. I think maybe in the Wii version of this, I think this track was remade for the Wii, and then like the track had like cannonballs flying in at you. And there I am, me. Probably, yeah, considering when this game came out, I was probably like maybe like 12, something like that. So we're beating up 12-year-old me, assuming he doesn't save all his mushrooms to the end. Oh boy. I had a bad habit around the DS era where I'd get very excited for video games, and I would go back and play a bunch of video games in a series. And oh, well, looks like looks like I'm gonna beat. I would go back and play a game in a series that I really liked. Oh, it is shooting cannonballs. I didn't know that it would shoot cannonballs in this version. This is the long way around too. You beat me. Dang. I forgot what I was saying. I can't remember my train of thought at all. So whatever I said apparently was not that important. So, but yeah, this is a fun game. I liked it. Oh, what I was saying now, I remember, now that I'm trying to change topics. So when, Mario Kart DS was coming out, I was super pumped. And I actually ended up playing a ton of this on my DS in anticipation because the DS was backwards compatible. Probably the most I played of this in my life, so that's probably close to like when I was 15 years old. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, thank you. And so when Mario Kart DS came out, I actually played more of this than Mario Kart DS in that time frame. But it's dang it. I'm not very good at these games. I'm not very good at Mario Kart games anymore in general, to be honest. I am very poor at controlling them, especially the newer ones, just because the style of the control methods for turning and stuff is very specific to each vehicle, and it's difficult for me to adapt. And I feel like as a whole, the Mario Kart series turning has changed a lot. It's become very focused on drifting, and like to the point that you're basically required to drift in order to do anything, which has been kind of a thorn in my side when trying to get people to play the Mario Kart games with me, because inevitably they don't end up drifting, and like I try to explain it to them, and it's difficult for them to understand if they're like very casual at playing these kind of games, and it's just there's like an auto turn system, but like a lot of times they're in control of what they set, and so like unless I sit there and tell them, hey, stop doing that and do this, like turn on the auto drift, then then it won't get set, and then it inherently puts them in a disadvantage because I think you don't get boost with auto drifts. I could be wrong. Yeah. Mario Kart. I wish I liked Mario Kart games more. But I do have a fondness for this one. I think it's a very, outside of me, having played this as a kid quite a bit, I do think it's a really unique game. I think I said it before, but as a Super Nintendo style Mario Kart game, it has all the Super Nintendo tracks in it, and I could totally understand if you said, well, there's like mechanically there's some different things between the Super Nintendo and this game that you might prefer, and I don't think I would know well enough whether or not that's the case. Unfortunately, I'm not an expert on the original Super Mario Kart, but I think from a casual outsider's perspective, like this game, covers pretty much that entire game's. I mean, it covers that entire game's track lineup. So unless you're trying to do like battle mode or something, I don't know if this game has battle mode in it in multiplayer. I wouldn't be surprised if it does, but I'm not gonna sit here and try to hook up some Game Boy Advances and do that, especially since I don't have a second copy and another person to play. So it would just be me driving around in a circle. We can look at the multiplayer menu and see if there's anything that says battle mode in there, but I think it just takes you to a screen that says, "Hey, connect people." Yeah, take this little pulsing Mario. And Mario's like, "Hey, where you guys at? Get in my party." All right. Well, I should head off before anything breaks, and I'll go ahead and rewatch this video and make sure it's not broken, and hopefully the third time was the charm, and we have ourselves a quick play stream that will go up today when you're listening to it. I don't care how late. It could be 2 years later. I don't care. It went up today, just for you. Just for you. Thanks for coming. Have a great week. Bye.